This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Good morning, 7 o'clock. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. How does it go by so fast?
Every time, yeah.
Too much fun, you know. That's all it is. Yeah, you were having fun watching IU.
Yeah.
And you were having fun celebrating your birthday.
Yes, I was.
So there you go. That's the reason.
What did you do this weekend, though?
I watched so much football.
Yeah, that is fun too.
Basically, that's all it was. And we're just going to keep, I guess, that trend going tonight, too. For those of you heading out today, though, before we get to that point, we are seeing temperatures in the teens and the low 20s with wind chills in the teens across most of the region. So the wind chills in the teens, certainly what you want to dress for. It's feeling like 13 degrees in Bedford, feeling more like 19 degrees for those of you into E-Town, and feeling like 18 into Louisville. Clear skies for everyone this morning. We're going to see plenty of sunshine over the next 12 hours as we climb into the 40s for your afternoon highs. Some wind gusts near really just 20, 25 miles per hour possible. Warmer for your Tuesday before we see rain and snow returning on Wednesday. Rob.
Okay, Tawana, thanks so much. At 7:01, good morning to you. You're ready to tackle another week. It's hard to believe it is here upon us, but the good news, great conditions out there on the roadways, at least so far this early morning. At 71 at 265, traffic moving along at a pretty good clip. Nice dry conditions out there. Zero crashes to report out there at this hour, and we hope it stays like that throughout the duration of the morning. The big picture looking really good right now. Not even any disabled vehicles to slow down your commute to wherever you're heading this morning. Your drive times right there, 10 minutes or under using 65. Back over to you.
Thank you. This morning, Elizabethtown police are asking parents to keep an eye on their kids' social media activity. They say a social media meetup led to a 15-year-old girl being shot and killed.
Police have arrested 2 people in this case, one of them being another teenage girl who's now charged with murder. Wave News reporter Kirsten Flood joining us now with more on the investigation. Kirsten.
Good morning, Olivia and Shannon. Police are sifting through conflicting reports, leaving a handful of details unclear for investigators, but they're saying what began as a social media meetup turned deadly. When police got to this Lowe's parking lot, they found a man, 21-year-old Bryce Harbison, performing CPR on the 15-year-old victim with a second 15-year-old girl also there. Police say Harbison met the 2 teenage girls on Snapchat. He told police he believed they were 18. He bought them alcohol, then picked them up. It's not clear where he picked them up from. The 3 came to the Lowe's parking lot to drink. Harbison and the victim sitting in the back seat of his truck, and the other girl now charged with murder sat up front. Police say from there's conflicting reports on what happened next.
According to Harbison, the firearm was secured in the glove box. However, the suspect in the investigation has revealed that she had found the firearm, a 9mm handgun, on the center console of the truck. According to the suspect, Harbison told her that the gun was not loaded.
Police say they do know that by her own admission, the girl picked the gun up, pointed it, and pulled the trigger, shooting the victim in the chest. Now, police arrested Harbison and the minor suspect there at the scene. Harbison is charged with wanton endangerment and unlawful transaction with a minor. The 15-year-old suspect is charged with murder. Police say more charges could be added in the coming days. Shannon, Olivia, back to you guys.
Thank you. Louisville Metro Police are still looking for the person or people they think shot a man and put him in the hospital. Police say they were called to the Durham Mart gas station on South 7th Street just after midnight Sunday. That's where they found a man shot in a vehicle outside. He's now in the hospital in critical condition. The non-fatal shooting unit is investigating. Police think the man was shot by someone in a fleeing vehicle. They tell us they are following leads in this case.
Indiana State Police is investigating after an inmate died in Washington County Jail. The agency says around 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon, jail officials found an inmate unresponsive lying in his bunk. 61-year-old David Elliott died at the hospital. His body is set for an autopsy today. No foul play is suspected.
The man who shot and killed a K-9 officer in Bullitt County years ago is due for a review of his parole eligibility today. In 2022, 23-year-old David Knopp got into a gunfight with police after a report of shoplifting at the Dollar General in Lebanon Junction. During the confrontation, he shot a K-9 named Dash, and the dog died soon after. Knopp pleaded guilty to assault on a service animal and wanton endangerment, and today he is due for a review of his parole eligibility.
A man charged in connection to a double homicide at a Radcliffe Waffle House is set to go to trial today. In July of 2023, Rod Chad Bowser Highsmith is accused of planning with someone else to take a gun from another person in the parking lot of the Waffle House on South Dixie Boulevard. Court documents say Bowser Highsmith helped to plan the shooting where 2 men were shot and killed. He faces 1 charge of attempted murder, 2 charges of complicity to murder, and 1 charge of complicity to robbery. His jury trial is scheduled to begin today.
Blue Oval SK is facing a lawsuit that accuses them of discrimination and wrongful termination. 6 employees from the company's battery plant in Hardin County filed the suit. According to the complaint, the suit is seeking a jury trial and damages for the violation of the Kentucky Civil Rights Act through discrimination and retaliation, the violation of Kentucky public policy through wrongful termination, and workers' compensation retaliation. The plaintiffs have leveled a number of accusations against the company. They include a worker with 1 hand not being given specialized gloves and then moved to a different department, racial comments, different treatment based on sex, and more. You can find a complete breakdown of the accusations on wave3.com. The filing comes just weeks after the company announced it would lay off its 1,600 employees. Blue Oval SK's parent companies, Ford and SK On, had previously announced the end of their partnership and that Ford would be taking over the company's Kentucky plants. The layoffs go into effect February 14th. Big changes coming for Kentucky high school students. The state, which has traditionally used the ACT as a standard measurement to get into college, will now switch to the SAT.
The Kentucky Department of Education says the digitally formatted SAT could save the state more than $350,000. Some educators say it's good to save money, but they're worried about how it will affect students in college. Rob Wells is here with a closer look. Rob?
Yeah, and Olivia, the SAT is accepted nationwide and at a number of Kentucky schools, including U of L, UK, WKU, and EKU. It relies more on critical thinking versus the ACT, which focuses on certain curriculums only. Both the reading, writing, and the math sections are divided into 2 equal time parts. In Hardin County, school district officials tell me they think switching from ACT to SAT is a positive one for the some 1,100 juniors in the district that'll be taking it this spring. The district already had a contract with a company called CERT, which administers practice ACT testing for students. That same company offers an SAT format as well, according to the district. The district's chief academic officer says the format is the biggest difference.
Biggest thing with the ACT, did have an English, math, a reading, and a science section. What you see about the SAT is it doesn't necessarily have a section specific to science. It's primarily reading, writing, and math. But what they do is they integrate the science questions across the different sections within the test.
Now, depending on how well the student does in the first half of the SAT, the questions can become more or less difficult. He adds while the ACT was offered in both handwritten and digital formats, the SAT is digital only, and the duration of the testing is different. Sutton added that the ACT could take more than 3 hours. The SAT runs about 2. Another area of concern, scholarships and grants. Sutton said while Kentucky universities have always offered assistance to students based on ACT scores, they're now evaluating how they'll do the very same for SAT outcomes. Shannon.
Thank you. Well, what a season it's been for the Indiana Hoosiers football program. They've gone to a perfect now 15-0 record. They secured a Big Ten title, a Rose Bowl win, a Peach Bowl win. They also have the Heisman Trophy winner and Coach of the Year. The Hoosiers could make history and be one of the greatest teams of all time in 1 week in the national championship. The Hoosiers have the chance to go to perfect 16-0 and win their first national title. Only Yale in 1894 finished their season a perfect 16-0. The Hoosiers will face the Miami Hurricanes. Heisman quarterback Fernando Mendoza grew up in Miami. He takes pride in his Cuban heritage. After leading his team to the title game Friday night, Wave Sports reporter Dusty Baker spoke with Mendoza. He says this team has their eyes on the ultimate prize of winning a title in his hometown against his hometown team.
Upcoming for the national championship. It was a great team effort. However, we need to stay humble and hungry because although this is a great win, that doesn't give us any extra points in Miami and Hard Rock Stadium. So it was a great team effort. It shows that, hey, we can do it. We can win this level, especially in a semifinal game, which is spectacular. Now we got to put it together for the big one.
Miami will virtually have a home game now, playing in their home stadium. Getting to the national championship, though, if you want to see it in person, you got to pay a whole lot of money. Flights to Miami start at $600. And how about those tickets to the game? That starts at around $3,600 on Ticketmaster. That's the starting point. Indiana and Miami will kick off Monday, January 19th at 7:30 p.m. and that game will be aired on ESPN. If you wanted to sit closer to the field, it's around $10,000.
That is crazy. I will watch it for free at home on my couch on ESPN.
I know, but to be there would be amazing.
It would be.
Still to come, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell in the crosshairs of the Justice Department, what prosecutors allege he lied about to Congress.
Plus, you'll hear how Powell is responding to the investigation.
Right now, the Department of Justice has opened an investigation into Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Prosecutors allege Powell lied to Congress when he testified before the Senate Banking Committee last June about the cost of renovating the Federal Reserve headquarters. The price tag on the renovations is about $2.5 billion. Powell says the threat from the Justice Department is more about disagreements he has with President Trump over lowering interest rates.
The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
Powell says interest rates should not be set based on political pressure or intimidation. President Trump says he wants to put a limit on credit card interest rates. In a Truth Social post, the president said the American public is being ripped off and called for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates at 10%. The president wants the cap to take effect January 20th. The post did not give details on how exactly the federal government would try and enforce the cap.
A federal judge has halted the White House's freeze on $10 billion in social assistance and child care funding. The judge ordered the White House to remove any restrictions on the state's ability to access the funds while the case moves forward. A lawsuit claims the funding freeze is unconstitutional. 5 states argued the move violated the laws and regulations governing the federal aid programs. The Department of Health and Human Services claimed the money had been used fraudulently. Flu cases continue to rise across the country. The CDC says so far there have been more than 15 million cases this season. The CDC reports there's high flu activity in both Kentucky and Indiana. It's the worst season for respiratory illnesses since at least 1997 through 1998. Across the country, roughly 180,000 people have been hospitalized and 7,400 have died. Most of the cases are from a severe strain of influenza A known as subclade K.
Subclade K, which is a new strain that probably is not included in the current vaccine. The flu vaccine absolutely prevents severe illness, prevents hospitalizations.
The CDC estimates 130 million doses of the vaccine have been distributed nationwide this season, but that covers less than 40% of the U.S. population. Certainly something to keep in mind when everyone's going to be inside this week. It's so cold.
Yeah, it's a cold week ahead, huh?
It definitely is. Now, we do have a little bit of warmth here and there, but it's really just about those temperatures feeling like winter again across our region. We're in the teens and low 20s right now for your actual temperatures, ranging from 23 degrees for those of you in Hardinsburg and Madison to 24 at the airport in Louisville. But what does it feel like? Well, we have a wind chill of 14 degrees in the Madison, feeling like 18 degrees in Louisville, and feeling more like 15 for those of you in Fort Knox. But at least we have some beautiful sunrises shaping up on our SkyTrack camera, including the one in New Albany looking off towards the east. You can see how crisp and clear our skies are to start off the day, matching with what we're seeing on the satellite and radar as well. So that means, yes, plenty of sunshine in our forecast through the morning into the afternoon. Temperatures today jumping into the 40s for afternoon highs. It will be a bit breezy this afternoon with some of these gusts near 20 to 25 miles per hour. That will keep wind chills in the 30s for a lot of us. Now we get into tonight, still clear skies across the region. Temperatures falling down into those 20s and low 30s for those overnight lows. And then we'll rebound all the way into the 50s for tomorrow's highs with the help of a lot more of that sunshine. So tomorrow will feel quite nice. Will also be another windy day with more of those gusts near 30 to 35 miles per hour are possible. So we see that wind picking up on your Tuesday, staying windy into Wednesday as you watch another system arriving. This will bring some more of that rain and snow potentially in our forecast, and we'll watch for that potential for some light accumulations with this system as well. So we get into early on your Wednesday morning, right around midnight. This is when some light rain, some drizzle will start to move into our region. As we head throughout your Wednesday morning, that first wave of rain pushes to the south, and then we have another wave of rain switching over to snow once we get into your Wednesday afternoon, evening, especially as temperatures fall throughout the day on Wednesday. With clouds still overhead Wednesday night into Thursday morning and temperatures dropping down into the teens, that cold air will squeeze any little bit of moisture that's in the atmosphere. So that is why we're still looking at the potential for some flurries and light snow showers into Thursday morning as well. By Thursday afternoon, a little bit drier with highs in the 20s then, and then we'll see some more chances for rain and snow for the end of the week and into the beginning of the weekend.
Thank you. Recent violence and protests in Iran have led to dozens of deaths and arrests. The officials say several options presented to the president have centered on targeting Tehran security services that are being used to tamp down the protests. President Trump says Iran has called to negotiate.
They called yesterday. Iran called to negotiate. Yesterday, the leaders of Iran called. They want to negotiate. I think they're tired of being beat up by the United States. Iran wants to negotiate, yes. We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up, but we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting. But a meeting is being set up. Iran called. They want to negotiate.
Officials say more than 500 people have died during the protests in Iran. And violence erupted during an anti-Iranian government protest in Los Angeles yesterday. Police say a man driving a U-Haul truck drove through a crowd of protesters and 2 people suffered minor injuries. A banner was attached to the truck. It said, "No Shah, no regime, USA don't repeat 1953, no Mullah." An apparent reference to a U.S.-backed coup that year that toppled the then prime minister. Police say the driver of the U-Haul was detained.
The Smithsonian has removed details about President Donald Trump's impeachments from an exhibit at the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C. The removal happened last week. It took place at the same time the Portrait Gallery displayed a new black and white image of President Trump in the America's Presidents exhibit. The label under the portrait notes the president's birth date, and he is the 45th and 47th president. The previous label had more details as it provided information about the president's 2 impeachments, and the Senate acquitted him both times. Indiana has been chosen as one of 2 states to win a designated national drone testing site. Indiana will be among the first new federal testing grounds for drone technology in nearly a decade. Governor Mike Braun says this new national drone testing site designation will attract high-paying jobs and defense tech investments. The governor says he expects restricted airspace over places like Camp Atterbury and the Muscatatuck Urban Training Center to be part of the testing grounds. The other state chosen is Oklahoma.
Macy's plans to close 14 of its stores in 12 states across the country. The company says the closures are part of Macy's strategy to shrink its footprint in the U.S. The department store chain says its goal is to better serve customers and support long-term growth. Nearly 2 years ago, the company announced plans to close 150 underperforming stores by the end of this year.
Just ahead, the Girl Scouts kicking off their annual cookie sale today. We'll tell you how you can get your favorite treats shipped directly to you.
Country music legend Dolly Parton will be missing her own milestone birthday bash at the Grand Ole Opry. The singer announced on social media she won't be in attendance for the celebration on January 17th. The announcement comes a few months after Parton postponed a series of Las Vegas concerts, citing health challenges. In a video message, Parton said some of her favorite memories took place at the Opry, and she wishes she could be there in person. She turns 80 January 19th.
Today, the Kentucky Derby Festival will announce the young women who were chosen for this year's Royal Court. KDF will officially crown 5 incredible young women chosen from nearly 100 applicants. Each woman will be selected to earn scholarship money, become an ambassador for the city, the Commonwealth, and the Derby Festival, and they'll also attend almost every single KDF event throughout the season. Officials will announce the full court at Dillard's at Mall St. Matthews this morning at 10 o'clock.
And the Girl Scouts are kicking off their cookie sales today. Customers can use the Cookie Finder website to order their favorite cookies so they can be shipped right to your home or business. The website also maps out local cookie booths where you can buy a box in person starting March 6th. And you spoke to someone who tried the new Explore More cookie.
I heard they were good, but the Girl Scouts get a little taste test beforehand. And
That's nice.
Yeah, I want the Thin Mints, though.
Yes, for sure. We'll be right back.
This Wade News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Kogan. This morning, Elizabethtown police are trying to find out what led to a 15-year-old girl being shot and killed. Police say it started when 21-year-old Brian Harbison started talking to 2 15-year-old girls over Snapchat. He told police he thought the girls were 18. Investigators say Harbison and the girls were drinking alcohol in the parking lot of a Lowe's when one of the 15-year-old girls was shot. Harbison told officers it happened when the other teen girl took a gun out of his glove box, and he told her that the gun was unloaded. Police say the 15-year-old suspect admitted to shooting the victim, but thought that the gun was unloaded. The 15-year-old is charged with murder, and Harbison is charged with wanton endangerment and unlawful transaction with a minor. Here is Tawana right now, and it's a cold start.
It is a very cold start out there, seeing more of those teens and low 20s out there to start off the day. Then the clear skies and light winds really help those temperatures drop, but they're making for some beautiful sunrises across the region. Check out what we're seeing right now on our SkyTrack camera in New Albany, looking off towards the east, the quiet Ohio, the clear skies overhead, and those clear skies do match up with what we're seeing on the satellite and radar. Now that sunshine will be around for the rest of the day as we climb into the 40s for your highs, and we'll see some gusty winds today near 20 to 25 miles per hour as we head into the afternoon. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so much at 7:28. Good morning to you. We do have a traffic alert we want to pass along to you that we want you to be aware of. We're talking about the area around 64 West at Hurstbourne Parkway. Reports about the last 10-15 minutes of a two-car accident. That area is still being cleaned up, so the right shoulder is being blocked in that area, as you can see by the emergency responders. Otherwise, the big picture looking pretty good right now. No major other slowdowns or tie-ups to talk about. Watch your speed. Have a great morning. We'll see you back here in 25 minutes.
Good morning and happy Monday to you. I hope everyone had a great weekend. It is a very cold morning, that's for sure. But hey, at least on Friday, IU football had that big win. We're going to talk about that and get some reaction from some of the fans who are just so excited to see their team head to the national championship. Plus, we're going to be talking about credit card debt. We'll have that message for you coming up in just a few minutes. But first, today, Kentucky State University students will return to class for the first time since a deadly shooting on campus. It comes as police continue to dig deeper into what led up to that shooting. Students have been off campus since Jacob Bard shot two students on December 9th. 19-year-old DeJohn Fox Jr. was killed in that. However, a grand jury declined to indict Bard for the death of Fox Jr. Bard said he acted in self-defense because a group of students was attacking him and his son, who was a student at KSU. Days after Bard's charges were dropped, Fox's parents were arrested. Police records show Chardonnay Cleveland and DeJohn Darrell Fox Sr. made online threats to Bard. Investigators say they're continuing to follow any leads into the shooting. They say additional charges could be brought against other people in the case. A group of Louisville protesters want a Metro Council and state lawmakers to take action to limit ICE operations in Louisville. It comes as fallout continues across the country following the death of Renee Good in Minneapolis. She was shot and killed by an ICE agent last week. The Department of Homeland Security says the shooting was in self-defense, claiming Good was trying to hit the agent with her car. The Minneapolis mayor says the video shows she was trying to leave the scene and was not trying to hit the agent. Protests at the Belvedere in Louisville on Saturday say it's dangerous for the community to interact with ICE.
ICE already is in Louisville. What we haven't seen is the level of involvement as there has been in Chicago, Los Angeles, Minneapolis for sure. I think that it is a situation where if we don't speak up today, who knows what's going to come tomorrow.
One protester, a psychiatric professional, says she's seen its impacts firsthand on children and families.
Who are crying, who are not coming to school, who are missing doctor's appointments literally because they're afraid if they have parents take them to those appointments, their parents will be deported.
The group is calling on the local government to join their call and demand ICE leave the city, saying they'll keep gathering to make their message clear. Meanwhile, a bill in the Kentucky legislature would require Kentucky law enforcement agencies to partner with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Currently, law enforcement groups across the state have the option to participate in an ICE program that trains and deputizes local police to act as federal agents. The bill would mandate participation in the program. Supporters say it would give police the power to investigate if someone they arrested is in the country legally. Kentucky lawmakers could tackle a bill this session that would change where you can apply or renew your driver's license. It comes after numerous complaints about the current system with regional offices. Phil Pendleton has more details on the effort to shift that job back to circuit court clerks' offices in every county.
Brooke Wasson traveled to Richmond from Winchester so her kids could take a driver's permit test.
People are very friendly here, but it does take quite a while to get in to do that.
She says it took 3 weeks to get an appointment and wishes it was as simple as going to a local office in Clark County.
For sure, that's the way it always was when I was growing up, and it was just very convenient. You knew the people, it was easy just to go walk right in and to be able to do that.
Kentucky lawmakers could take up House Bill 162 to return the practice of issuing licenses, including real IDs, to circuit court clerks in every county.
Citizens all across the Commonwealth have been overwhelmingly frustrated with having to wait weeks or even months to get an appointment, drive far away, maybe take off work, stand in line all day.
It is unclear the level of support this has from the circuit court clerks. I reached out to a number. I heard from one today who serves a fairly large county in southern Kentucky, and he simply told me that when all of this started, he was concerned because of all the federal requirements and mandates with the real ID that were coming down the pike. Kentucky transportation officials say circuit clerks asked them to take over the process in 2020. And they say last month wait times improved to just 11 minutes compared to 49 minutes 25 minutes back in April.
Although I do anticipate opposition in a negotiation process, I feel as though this legislation is a great starting point to have that conversation and to create a system that works for everyone.
There are currently 35 regional offices in Kentucky. State officials say they're also working to further improve the system.
Speaking of bills moving through Kentucky's state capitol, a newly filed Kentucky House bill could make a certain gun conversion illegal. House Bill 299 would ban auto sears at the state level. The devices, also known as Glock switches, increase a gun's rate of fire by allowing it to continue shooting with a single trigger pull. The new bill would make the possession of one of these devices a Class C felony. Last year, LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey testified that the Metro has seen a significant increase in seizures of the device. Representative Jason Nemes filed that bill last week. A Rockcastle County man is sharing his story after he lost his mother in a house fire. Nicholas Benge was at his home with his mother Regina 1 week ago when that fire started. He says she struggles with mobility, so he tried to put out the flames before he tried to get her out of the building. He remembers he shouted for her to not go into the living room because the fire had already spread there, but he says he was too late and she had already collapsed in the room.
I started yelling to her, crawl to me, just crawl to me if you can. And I just couldn't get to her. I couldn't even get my mom out.
Absolutely heartbreaking there. In addition to losing his mother, he also got second-degree burns on his head and hands. He also says he has smoke inhalation that could cause long-term problems. A fundraiser to support him has already raised more than $2,600. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Sunrise Extra in 2 minutes. A bill reintroduced into the Kentucky legislature is aiming to give animal control officers training to spot the signs of child abuse and neglect. If House Bill 246 becomes law, it would require animal control officers to receive training on recognizing child abuse, and it adds animal control officers to the list of people with the duty to report neglect or abuse of a child. It'll be known as Kian's Law. Kian Higgins Jr., or KJ, was found dead in 2021 in a trunk. The person accused of killing him is his mother, Caitlin Higgins. Records show Metro Animal Services had cited KJ's mother for animal neglect leading up to the incident. The bill failed to get a final passage in the 2025 session, as it was not one of the last bills to be called up before session ended. The Department of Justice has opened an investigation into Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Prosecutors allege Powell lied to Congress when he testified before the Senate Banking Committee last June about the cost of renovating the Federal Reserve's headquarters. The price tag on the renovations is about $2.5 billion. Powell says the threat from the Justice Department is more about disagreements he has with President Trump over lowering interest rates.
The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
Powell says interest rates should not be set based on political pressure or intimidation. We're kicking off the new year buried in credit card debt. Americans actually owe $1.2 trillion, and a lot of people are behind on their bills. Now complaints about debt collectors are soaring. Susan Campbell shows us what you need to know if you're facing that mountain of overdue debt.
Debt can cause a lot of stress. If collectors are calling, it makes it all feel worse. So it is important to come up with a plan. The very first thing you need to do is figure out exactly how much debt you actually have.
So let's just give it a run.
The actors with Murder, Inc. are rehearsing for their next performance.
So let's begin, shall we? And that's spelled I-N-K because we write all of our murder mysteries.
Greg Lutz owns a company and has poured everything into it for years.
I'll tell you, I had about 60 grand in debt. Most of that on credit cards, because you get the zero balance and you transfer it to this one and transfer it to that one. But then when the time's up, boy, it really raises the interest and the principal. You don't even know what the principal is anymore.
And that was mostly for the business?
Exactly. Yes, all for the business.
The debt started to pile up during the pandemic when nobody was going to shows. Greg spent more working on new shows to try and get new revenue. Then the debt collectors started calling.
They would threaten me with, we're going to own Murder Inc. We're going to own your house.
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
That's what you've worked for years and years and years.
Exactly. And then you can't help it, as somebody who at that time wasn't informed, there's a little panic attack. And you start thinking, well, maybe I should listen to them. I mean, they're telling me I don't have any other choices.
Here's the thing. Greg did have other choices, and so do you.
A lot of consumers are getting collection calls these days.
Jim Triggs is the CEO of the nonprofit Money Management International, which helps people get out of debt.
90-day delinquencies on credit cards are up over 12% of the entire portfolio, which is astronomically high. We haven't seen numbers like that since the Great Recession.
He says it's important to know your rights when it comes to debt collectors.
They can't call you at times that are inconvenient for you. That's usually before 7 a.m., after 9 p.m. They can't threaten to put you in jail for not paying your debt or threaten you in general. They can't harass you at work if you tell them not to call you at work.
Still, we've seen a big spike in complaints about debt collectors. According to data from the Federal Trade Commission, in the first 3 quarters of 2024, the FTC got about 44,000 reports about debt that wasn't owed or abusive and threatening debt collection practices. During the same time in 2025, that number jumped to almost 195,000. Greg says for him, it was almost impossible to figure out which debt collectors were even legitimate.
And a lot of them were fraudulent, but you don't know that when they call you.
So he asked for help from MMI and got on a plan to pay off everything with reduced interest rates.
Are you paid off?
I have 1 month left. So 1 month left.
Do you see that relief all over his face?
And you are the one.
It's relief and excitement for a new season of new shows. Before you pay a debt collector, verify the debt. MMI says you should ask for the company's name, business address, and contact information, and then ask for written verification of the debt itself. I'm Susan Campbell.
And speaking of debt, I'm sure a lot of people will be going into debt just to pay for tickets to watch Indiana play in the national championship game in Miami. We'll tell you how much that'll cost you coming up in just 2 minutes. Well, Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza and the IU Hoosiers are headed to Miami to play in the national championship for the first time in program history. They'll be taking on the University of Miami at Miami, and that'll be January 19th. So it'll be a home game for those Hurricane fans down there. We know Hoosiers fans travel well, though. But as they gear up for this exciting matchup, Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote breaks down how much it'll cost you to witness history.
Hoosier fans have been closely following this historic season for the football team, and they have one more chance to make history when they try for their first ever national championship. Now, if you're looking to head down to the game, one airline has made it that much easier to get to Miami directly, and that's Frontier Airlines, announcing Friday night, shortly after the team defeated the Oregon Ducks in the Peach Bowl, that they'll be temporarily adding flights from Indianapolis to Miami. The flights begin Saturday the 17th. You can also fly down on the 18th. Now, looking at prices for that flight on the 17th, it leaves Indianapolis at 1:10 in the afternoon, getting to Miami just before 4 o'clock. The cheapest ticket, though, is going to cost you about $400, going all the way up to the $600 mark. The return flights from Miami to Indianapolis are set for January 20th. Now, in Louisville, we already have a direct flight to Miami on the 17th, and that's American Airlines. That one's going to leave here just around 6 a.m., getting you to Miami just before 9 a.m. The tickets for that one are also costing about $600. Now, getting down to the game is one story. Tickets to the game is another. There are tickets available for the game, which will be held at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. However, for a single ticket, they're starting around $4,000. You can take a look right here. That's $3,800 to about $3,900. That's just for one ticket in the nosebleeds. Now, locally, fan groups have been meeting all season to watch the Hoosiers go undefeated. One of the many places welcoming fans is Harry's Tap House and Kitchen in Jeffersonville. They held a watch party for the Peach Bowl, and according to their Facebook, they plan to do so for the national championship. And coming off the big win, people in the area are telling me that they're excited.
Unbelievable. We never, something I never thought I'd see. You know, we've never seen him go to the national championship, and it's just unbelievable.
I'm a lifelong Raiders fan, and we have the #1 pick, so it's sort of been like, I think we're going to get a quarterback in Mendoza. And then the last 2 games, he's just, I think, cemented that fact.
And if you're wanting to take in this history-making game from the comforts of your own home, you can watch the Hoosiers take on Miami at 7:30 on January 19th on ESPN. Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Yes, I will definitely be watching from the comfort of my couch. Thanks so much for joining us here for Sunrise Extra. Hope you have a great Monday and a great week ahead.